do the whole walk all over again, in reverse. Me? Well, I shall inspect the local architecture, and that just might include a pub. In short, one of the great walkers of the late 20th century bows out.
Tonight, Anneka puts poetry in motion.
Next time you see a dustman looking all pale and sad, don't kick him in the dustbin, it might be my old dad. Might be my old, might be my old, might be my old dad.
Challenge Anneka, tonight at 8 on 1.
In 5 minutes, Philippa Forrester introduces this morning's Children's BBC. That's after the latest from the newsroom with Moira Stewart.
Good morning. Germany's Chancellor Kohl has said the recent turmoil in the currency markets does not mean that Europe's exchange rate mechanism should be scrapped. And the European Commission President, Jacques Delors, has warned that Britain could be left behind if it delayed ratification of the Maastricht Treaty on European Union.
Chancellor Kohl has joined the battle to save the ERM by saying he sees no reason to change the parities between the German mark and the French franc. That statement, together with continued intervention from the two countries' central banks, has helped relieve the pressure on the franc on the foreign exchanges. And it's also fueled speculation in the markets that France and Germany may decide to lead a new separate union within the EC, leaving the rest, such as Italy and Britain, in the slow lane to monetary union. European Commission President Jacques Delors has already said he does not rule out some countries taking an initiative, especially given the foot-dragging over the ratification of the Maastricht Treaty. But in London, yesterday's Commons debate on the economy showed how little room for manoeuvre the government has, with 70 of its own backbenchers signing a motion calling on it to withdraw from the ERM for good.
David Mellor will make his resignation speech to the Commons in about an hour's time. It follows his decision yesterday to stand down as Heritage Secretary.
Mr. Mellor returned home after a traumatic day, but still had no break from the press, which had played such a part in his downfall. Senior Tories deny he was under any pressure from them to resign.
Well, he's certainly, speaking for myself, he was not under pressure in that respect. It was entirely his own decision.
Earlier, local Conservatives had been forced to change their plans as a result of Mr. Mellor's departure. But he said he plans to stay on as their MP, and there was sympathy for his plight amongst constituents.
I think David Mellor's been a great MP for Putney.
I think it's most unfortunate he got himself in this position.
This morning, the newspapers who've been calling for Mr. Mellor's resignation have been giving the event considerable prominence.
It's been announced at the United Nations in New York that the president of the African National Congress, Nelson Mandela, is to reopen talks with President De Klerk. Mr. Mandela and President De Klerk haven't met since talks on political reform were broken off after the Boipatong massacre in June. It's thought they'll hold a summit in the next few days. Here, there's been a sharp increase in the number of middle-aged men committing suicide, according to the Samaritans organization. They blame growing economic and social pressures for the latest figures, which show that 3 times more men than women are taking their own lives. More news at 11 o'clock.
This is BBC1 Southwest. Good morning. Preparations are underway off the Cornish coast to raise the trawler Pescado. Relatives of some of the 6 crew who died when she went down are on their way to watch the salvage operation. But Devon and Cornwall police say weather conditions could mean the operation has to be delayed again. The parents of a West Somerset schoolgirl who died beneath a school bus are taking legal action against the county council. 10-year-old Charlotte Whitby was killed near her home in Porlock after catching her coat in the bus door. At the inquest into her death, the coroner criticised safety standards on school buses and called for them to be improved. The funeral is being held today of 2-year-old Gemma Tennant, who died after falling into a well near her home in East Looe. Hundreds of local people have signed a petition calling for the well on the Sunrising estate to be made safe. Let's take a look at the weather today now. It'll be quite bright this morning with just scattered showers in the west. However, cloud and outbreaks of rain will spread across the region during the day. Top temperature today will be 15 degrees Celsius. Winds will be moderate and northeasterly. That's it for now, but now the national forecast with Michael Fish.
Good morning. Some more heavy rain to come, and some of it actually in the areas that had so much just a couple of days.